Welcome, and thanks for joining me here as we continue to explore new ways to build do-it-yourself animatronics. Now today what we're going to work on is something that I've struggled with since actually way before I even started building my animatronic characters, and that is how to provide a good body form for my characters that is lightweight, inexpensive to build, easy to build, and provides the structure necessary to give my costumes that I put on my characters, make them look natural. I've tried a lot of different methods, from foam noodles and aluminum bars and soda bottles and Tupperware containers and everything you can think of to try and get that form, and I just haven't been happy with what I've come up with. Until now. We had considered after this last year that we would start trying to build some fiberglass forms, and that certainly is a good possible solution, but it still is a pretty messy process, and you end up with a product that is still very rigid. And what I wanted is a body form that actually had some give to it, just in case my mechanisms ran into it. You know, they would be able to have some give in that body form and not mess up my mechanism. So I think I've come up with something that's really going to work well. I'm really happy with how it's gone so far, and I'd like to take you along and show you what this process is. So stick around, get a beverage. We're going to look at how to make some body forms for our animatronics. Now what I've decided to use for my animatronic body forms for this year is to use foam mats like the cosplayers use for their body armor, and to put that together and use that as my structure for my clothing to protect my mechanisms and to provide the proper form. Now you can use a lot of different styles. These are the foam floor mats that you can buy at the big box hardware stores. They have a textured side and a smooth side. They're square usually. This one's been cut up for one of these costumes, but these work really well. Fairly rigid, but they work really well. Inexpensive to buy those. They have them at Harbor Freight as well. Or something I think I'm going to be using for mine. This is a foam camping mat from Walmart. It's softer, which gives a little bit more give to the finished body form, which is exactly what I want. Again, it's inexpensive. A roll of this is, I think, $7 from Walmart. We're going to go over how I did this. It's not my design, it's not my idea. I got a lot of help from Bill Duran at Punish Props and Evil Ted, and from their websites. And I actually downloaded some plans, bought them from Evil Ted's website. They're like $6 a piece, and he's got a set of male armor and a set of female armor, and that's what I used to, at least to start with, to build these first ones, and then I'll be adapting the plans as we go along. What you get is, it comes in 7 pages. You download them. It comes with a template showing what the layout's going to look like when you put it all together, and then you take the 6 remaining pieces and put them together. Tape them together so that they stay in place. You would cut all of these out, and then what you would end up with is these. These are actually the 4 pieces, and you're going to make 2 of each of these. You'll make one this way, and then for the other side of the body form, you simply flip this over and make the other sides. What I like to do is label mine because you know, they are going to be flip-flopped. You don't want to put the front side of this one with the back side of this one. Been there, done that. I am still adjusting my patterns. For these large ones, I took Ted's plans and enlarged them 120% on my printer, and that's how I got the larger body form. I'm still going to make some adjustments on how long it goes, and once I get that done, and I will take my patterns and transform them to like poster boards so that they'll hold up a little bit better. So once you get these done, we go on to marking it to foam and cutting foam. So let's get on with that. Now before we go any farther, I'd like to go over a few of the tools that you need. There's not a whole lot that you really need for doing this work, but there are a few critical things that you will need to have. So, of course, black Sharpie, some kind of a straight edge metal ruler works better so you're not cutting it with your razor knife. Some straight pins to pin down your patterns makes tracing them out a whole lot easier. Some kind of a X-Acto type knife. You know, if this is what you've got, this will work. I prefer, you know, one of the bigger retractable ones with the locking blade. These work really good, a little bit more stable. And you can really extend the life of these considerably if you pick up a sharpener for it. Put a little WD-40 on this. You know, every few cuts or so, this foam will really dull these knives down in a hurry. Sharpen it back up, and you're ready to go, sharp as can be, and extend the life out on these blades. If you don't already have a Dremel tool, this really comes in handy for doing some of the finish work, sanding work, especially if you take this up to the next level and start working foam and making costumes and stuff. Indispensable tool, indispensable prop building tool anyway. So I really love mine, especially the cordless one. If necessary to have some kind of a heat gun to be able to pre-shape this form, make them easier to glue up, be able to adjust them. This is just a cheap one from Harbor Freight I bought years ago. It's been through countless jobs for different foamworks columns and everything, held up really good. Like I said, like 10 bucks or something with the coupon at Harbor Freight. The glue we use is Barge. It's a contact cement. Really comes, makes a great bond. You can make a little pot. This one, Ted had plans, a little tutorial on his site for making your own little glue pot. You can buy one for 40 bucks, but this works just as good. Nice to have some gloves, especially when you're doing the glue up. You still have really fine control with these. Keep the contact cement off your fingers. And then a lot of times I'll keep these cutoffs from when I do the patterns, and it's really great for smoothing out and taking off the excess glue when we're gluing up the pattern. So let's go ahead and lay out some patterns and start cutting. Now you want to lay these out so that you can, of course, maximize the use of your foam. You don't want to waste any more than you need to here. So I just kind of jigsaw puzzle them out and then use a few straight pins and affix this into place, kind of hold it there while I get it traced so I don't have it slip sliding around. And then just take my black Sharpie and go around and trace this out. Again, once you get your pattern where you really want it, if you transfer this over to some poster board, it will they'll be a lot firmer and a lot easier to trace these out without getting them out of line. And then you want to make sure these are little marks, these little diamond shapes, triangles here, really important. They're your reference marks for lining things up when we go to glue them up together. So you want to make sure to get those added in there. We'll see how important they are later when we start to do the glue up. So just trace these all out and then we'll go ahead and cut them. All right, once you get your pattern all laid out, and again you can see I've marked the A and the B side just to make sure that I keep the two sides of the pattern separate. Don't want to be mixing those up. Couple things on cutting that I've at least found helpful. Again, once you need to make sure that you have a nice sharp blade, and you know, this foam will really dull this down if you don't keep these sharp, and then you're not going to get nice cuts. So keep that handy and use it regularly. The other thing is it's imperative to get clean joints, that you keep this blade at 90 degrees to the foam and keep it nice and straight. You don't want it tipping over and putting angles in your foam, at least for what we're doing. Some of the specialized cuts, you can get into that later. But so practice keeping this nice and straight. I still struggle with this, especially going around the curves. And what I found helpful when I'm going around the curves, one, go slow. And two, instead of keeping your knife at an angle like this, where you have a lot of your blade engaged in the foam, I find I get it a lot better if I point my knife up a little higher, and it's easier. I don't get that bend in there, that flex in my blade as I try and go around that corner, and it keeps that blade straighter up. So I use a ruler whenever I can do a straight cut. It just helps me again keep that blade nice and straight, get a nice clean cut, and then again, nice and slow on the curves, and keep that blade at 90 degrees to the foam. Nice and easy around. Again, if you've got can get up here and get your knife into the wood here or into your cutting surface to start, and then ease into that cut. It's a nice, lot cleaner, a lot easier to get into that cut. So. There you go. And you do that, you'll get nice straight cuts, and then your seams will seal up together nice and evenly when we go to glue these up. So I'm going to continue cutting these out, and then we're going to go to the next step of the process. Got one more step before we start gluing this up. So stick around. This foam is easily shaped by heat, so by using a heat gun, we can preform this a bit and help our glue joints line up a lot better and reduce the stress on our glue joints. So I'm using Ted's plan, so I have a nice photo of what the finished piece of armor is supposed to look like. So I can go from that and actually start shaping this foam. This piece here, these two pieces are the one side of the chest, and I can see that this piece is going to have to wrap around the side of the body. This is going to go up here like this. This is the underarm portion here, and then along the straight edge here we'll join with the adjacent pieces to form the front chest piece. And I can also see here at the top I'm going to have to wrap this around the shoulder piece, so I can preform that. And I can actually get a little bit of forming in here. There is some form to this gentleman's chest here. So again, we can help this by adding some heat to this and actually putting a little bit of a bend in here to help with that. So it doesn't take much heat. Gently hitting both sides. I usually use high temp. It seems to work good for me. That's about all it takes. And then just start shaping that, trying to follow your reference material. It's so important to have reference material. Knead quite a bit. That seems to work good for me. Just trying to get this to help that joint a little bit. So I'll continue with this, work on this next piece, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at gluing these together. One thing I found, especially with this rolled foam that I get from Walmart, it's a lot more open pore than the floor mats, and super important to get at least 2 coats on here. So this is the barge cement, my little piece of scrap to clean up my mess. And this is pretty simple. This is kindergarten gluing stuff, so just spread a thin layer, doesn't take much. In fact, a couple thin coats is better than one big thick coat. So get that spread on, take your little scraper and clean off the excess. And then set that aside to dry. You're going to want to put cement on both sides. Okay, now you have to let this set up and dry. You want it to at least get tacky. I usually let it set 10 or 15 minutes. I'll go ahead and put on a second coat, let that set up and tack up, and then we'll take a quick look at putting this all together and starting to glue these pieces up. So, for those of you that have stuck around this long, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're going to wrap this up. I've been busy gluing. I've got the chest pieces glued together already here, and we're going to show you how exactly this goes together on one of these back pieces. So it's really important to keep this all straight, and starting at one end, you want to make sure that the other end doesn't touch, or else it's going to glue together. And I like to use my fingers kind of as guides. You want it to be flush here when we start and flush on the top. So I just kind of use my fingers there. And then these reference marks you'll see come into play as we try and keep these lined up nice and evenly. And you're going to have to push and pull a little bit to keep those lined up. See, that one's a little long. We'll push that one in a little bit. All the while using our fingers to keep that nice and even. Same thing here, just working our way slowly around. And then here we'll have to push a little bit to get that to finish up nice and flat. And there we go. So we can push these seams together now. Make sure everything gets nice and connected, nice and firm. And we'll continue on with the process, finish up these other pieces, glue them all together until we have a completed body form. So thank you very much for watching this. I hope you found it useful. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. If you'd like some more information to get some more advanced techniques to take your foam building to the next level, make sure to check out the links below for Ted's and Bill's channels. They've got a lot of great videos there with a lot more information on using this technique. Watch for these. These will be underneath a lot of my characters here in the coming months. So thank you very much, and may the passion to build be with you.